Good morrow, people. How are you doing today, my man?
Oh, hey, man. Sorry, I was just finishing up I'm in Telegram, I'm in Discord, I'm in like all these different little programs, and I got messages and things I got to reply to and emojis. It's crazy, dude. I can't keep track of it.
Off the charts.
It's insane. I think I was telegramming you, as a matter of fact. But
Nice.
You're here, so happy today. I'm gonna put
Happy
this away now.
today.
I'm putting my phone down so I can be here with you, so I can focus on our live stream.
Awesome. So let's thank all of our sponsors. So let's thank all of our sponsors at Quantum Economics, Quantum Expedition, Shieldfolio, and the team at Bitcoin Live. I want to thank them so much, and all the new shows that are coming online in the last couple of weeks. Thank you so much.
Graham
This week's
Penrose, that guy's
yes,
show. Whoa.
yes,
And
indeed.
Shieldfolio, look at that.
Oh yeah, that's right. We have the discount code Bitcoin Live. You get 20% off Shieldfolio. Use that code. Scan the QR code today.
And that's a stone book, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Correct. So basically, you can write your seed words down in there and keep them safe and secure. And they're also, you can't even see them without the
What about like
correct.
if I got like a great recipe that my grandmother had for making chili? Can I put that in there and save
Yeah,
it and keep it?
you could do that as well if it's a secret
so there's lots
recipe.
of use cases, is what we're saying.
No, yeah. Hey,
All right.
other utilities for
Yes,
Shieldfolio.
utilities big. We're big fans of utility.
Indeed.
Big fans.
And this week's show, oh yes, and the team at Quantum Expeditions, I think I mentioned them. They have mining facilities down in Texas, and something to look into if you're very interested in getting investing in mining. And this isn't cloud mining; this is real mining.
It's real mining. I've been there. I've been to the farm,
location,
to the ranch, to the mining. I don't know what do we call it? A ranch, a farm,
ranch or farm. Either or.
Yeah, either or. But I've been there. Actually, I installed S21 miners. I hooked them up. I feel like I'm an official Bitcoin miner. I've actually bled. I had made a blood sacrifice while I was there. I cut my hand while I was installing ASICs. I'm like, I made a blood sacrifice to Satoshi. I feel like
well, just to a good segue into that. For all the people thinking that there's this minor death spiral, let me reassure you that that's total bullshit. So here is a picture. If you could share that, let me say share this tab instead. Should be coming up on the screen. This is my buddy Peter Saddington. He's been in the space for a long time. He is a very smart coder and been doing technology since he was a kid. Like, no joke. Like, he's been programming since I think he was like 9 or 10 for big companies. Like, I think he was working for like Johnson and Johnson by the time he was like,
oh, really?
15 or 16. Yeah. So he's a really smart guy, but he's been in Bitcoin now for a long time. He's one of my mentors. He's one of the people who pushed me to like learn more about Bitcoin and learn more about the space. But the whole point of this picture is this is his mining operation. You see what those are? Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are all S21s. I'm not, he didn't put the models in there, but those are all ASICs. Yeah, those are all ASIC miners going online, y'all. So anyone thinks that there's a mining death spiral, let me just pull up the hash rate chart and I'll share that in a second. But yeah, we're pushing 608 exahashes. This was the big dip of the last 6 months. 400, around 460. I think it hit like right in there. Yeah, 460 exahashes. But if we look at we zoom out, we look at a 1-year chart, you can clearly see, I mean, Bitcoin is still going up. The hash rate is still going up. And these, all these people that think we're going to suffer this huge drop in hash rate, I just don't see it. I don't see it in the cards. Like I stated, I think it was like episode, I want to say 7 or 8, and that title of the show was Zeta Hash. And that's what I titled this tweet, hashtag Zeta Hash. Because you can clearly see, I want to go back to that page from before. That's a whole lot of ASICs going online. And this is, remember, they are like a medium to large size operation. They're a little bit bigger than Quantum Expeditions.
And they're a private company, correct? They're not publicly traded.
Correct. I think it's Stotts Fund is the name of the company that he's working with to do all this with him. I think he's a consultant for them, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure on that because I haven't talked to him on that topic too much. But this is just one operation. Then you add Quantum Expeditions. This is just two, like, small to medium sized operations. This isn't Marathon, right? This isn't Riot. This isn't Genesis. There's a whole bunch of huge mining operations that are going to be doing the same thing here. So we're going to always see fluctuations in hash rate, as you could see from that dip on the chart. It always goes up and down, up and down, up and down. But again, I still am seeing in the tea leaves that we hit somewhere between 900 and 900 exahashes and
but
one
even this week though, even this week with the price dropping over 5%, miners have been experiencing reduced revenues as the hash prices dropped to levels not seen since May.
Yeah, so the miners are starting. They know too. They're starting to hoard their corn because we're getting to that time frame where they know every epoch. At some point, it does its little pumpy pump, and then it flatlines or drops, and then it goes higher. And we still haven't had that moment. And today's episode is, the Bitcoin domino effect, and that's kind of where we're at, right? The big news this week is that Bolivia did change their stance on banning Bitcoin, and I have a little clip of that. Let me pull that up. And let's rewind it. And
the rule that banned the purchase, sale, and use of virtual assets. The argument is that they need to modernize the payment systems, democratize access to virtual assets, and will regulate the sector. It's the classic one. If they can't ban it, they will regulate and try to push the sector into banks and financial institutions. This episode only reinforces the case of other countries that also banned Bitcoin and it didn't work. Now we are starting the phase where countries will discover that they also can't regulate Bitcoin because it does not follow fiat laws, but its own consensus rules. Regulation is actually an attempt to control disguised as a protection to users. After all, if they really wanted to protect the population, they wouldn't steal from it by printing money and destroying the purchasing power of the currency. Bolivia unbans Bitcoin. Bolivia's central bank.
So yeah, that's a huge deal. Let's be very clear. The intelligence communities of the world, they are all starting to share this information that Bitcoin's not going anywhere, right? The other big news of the week, right, was the other day, Strike launched in the United Kingdom. And that's a big deal because they were closed off for almost 5 or 6 years from one of the biggest markets in the world. So we're starting to see the rumblings of, oh, okay. We got some questions. Inspired.
Thank you, the Inspired, for coming through. Hana Fatima, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining the stream today.
Let's see. Okay, but the hash rate is dipping, though, right? No, the hash rate Inspired is not dipping. As you can see, we can go back to that chart really quickly. I think it is around 610 exahashes, 608. There we go. So the hash rate Inspired is not dipping. So as you can see, it's even hit like 700 right here. That was just the other day. So that's not what's happening. This is traditionally what happens. But this time I do think we are in a different epoch because there's just too much excitement around Bitcoin from the Larry Finks of the world, from the emerging markets of the world, right? Like, again, as the dollar rides high, right? As the dollar rides high around 100 plus per dollar, like 104, 105, emerging market economies, like perfect example, the CFA franc, right? That's in lots of other countries. The same principles apply with that money as they do with the dollar, right? As the dollar rides high it pushes down on all these emerging market countries that are tied to the USD. And then it makes it harder for them to make their payments back to us because they have to have a bigger wheelbarrow full of cash. And then we just, you know, we're going down this very dangerous cycle, which we've done time and time and time again. When do you think those ASICs will be coming online? So that's a good question. I mean, obviously you can see
Q3,
they're on a
Q4.
skid and I'm sorry.
I said Q3, Q4, right? Like now. I'd say they're going on. They are implementing
I would say
them
probably
now.
in the next week. Yeah. So my theory is you can see that they're unshrink wrapped, right? If they're unshrink wrapped, they're about to be opened up and be put on the line. I would say I agree with Matt 100% because let's be very clear, there's going to be a huge difficulty adjustment. And when that difficulty adjustment goes down in favor of the miners, that's when people are like,
I would tell you this as well, a little bit of this is real fundamental analysis that you can't deny. When I was out there installing those Bitcoin miners with Quantum Expeditions, right, and this was about over a month ago, I was at a place that was kind of like a central warehouse, and there was another company, and a smaller private company, much like your friend's company, that's a Bitcoin mining operation, and they had over a couple $100,000 pallets of brand new ASICs that were coming in, like about 60 on a pallet, right? They were all shrink wrapped, that they were getting ready to be deployed. And this was a smaller, again, like you said, your buddy's company, very similar to that image that you brought up earlier. And they were getting ready to deploy all these brand new S21s within the month. So if that was them then, and this is your buddy now, you can only imagine what's coming next.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. This isn't conjecture anymore. This isn't me speculating anymore.
I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah, we have the fundamental and the technical data to show that Bitcoin's going to be hitting a zettahash of power soon. Yeah, if you want to share this video, Nick, go right ahead because
Tomorrow, so great to catch up. It feels like every time we're talking these days, it's a conversation about digital assets. I'm not complaining though, it's an exciting time.
I totally agree because so much has been happening, whether it's developments in liquidity provision or infrastructure in the ecosystem or public policy. There has been a huge amount happening in digital assets, of course, leading to the launch of Bitcoin ETFs. So Jay, since we launched IBIT this year, what are you and the team hearing from investors?
We've been having great dialogues with investors, from everyone who's new to the digital asset space to those who have been investing in it for a long time. I think the commonality in these conversations is just how convenient Bitcoin ETFs are in bringing access to the space. I'm interested to hear your view of the markets. How is investor participation changing in the space?
So to your point, Jay, access has been the real.
This is so stilted conversation.
I know,
because
again.
now investors.
To your point, Jay.
Now investors, they could buy.
Yeah, you can pause it there.
Yeah, you get the point. Hey,
bonds through a conversation.
If I can jump on the tail end of that,
yeah,
Jer.
go ahead.
Another video that I think that maybe you had it in the arsenal in the queue for today was again just talking about Bitcoin and from some of the bigger. There you go. There it is. Gosh, please, Nick is so good. Producer Nick behind the scenes, Bitcoin Live. Everybody, if you don't know who Peter Thiel is, Peter Thiel helped create PayPal along with Elon Musk back in the day. Big investor, big Silicon Valley guy. Listen to Peter Thiel's comments on Bitcoin just recently. Here you go. Check it out.
But then there, probably the part where I'm less convinced of is this question of the sort of ideological founding vision of Bitcoin or these cryptocurrencies as sort of a cypherpunk, crypto anarchist, libertarian, anti-centralized government thing. This is always the line.
Isn't that what got you interested in the first place?
That's what I thought was terrific about it. And then the question is, does it really work that way, or has that thread somehow gotten lost? And so when people in the FBI tell me that they'd much rather have criminals use Bitcoin than $100 bills, it suggests that maybe it's not quite working the way it was supposed to.
Have you sold any of your Bitcoin?
I still hold some. There are all these ways I didn't buy as much as I should have.
Okay, I didn't buy as much as I should have. Hold on, I'm going to pause it there. Right there.
Wait,
no,
let it play. Let it play. No, let him play out.
Oh, well, hold on.
Last 10 seconds.
All right, Gerald, let it play.
I'm not sure it's going to go up that dramatically from here.
From here.
Yeah, I think we got the ETF edition, and I don't know who else
And then
buys it.
I'm sorry, I
quickly
have
from
my
here.
impression
Some
of
interesting investment advice.
Thiel, on the screen here.
I know what you're doing. This is like two
Yeah.
magicians trying to impress each other.
This is my impression of Peter Thiel this morning. You sold all your Bitcoin. Okay, we get it. Have fun staying poor.
Okay, so let me that was great, but to that, just listening to his comments, one thing you hear is regret. He regrets.
Totally.
He just
I mean,
said that.
He
fully
literally,
regrets.
he was glitching, right? He was literally, that's what when your computer gets caught in a loop, you saw a human get caught in a loop, right? Like, you sold all your Bitcoin and you are a dumbass. Yeah, we know.
Didn't he? But so let me just bring this point back around to Peter, and even to some news that we haven't even touched on yet over the past week, and that was Michael Dell from Dell Computers. Everybody knows Michael Dell.
Oh my gosh!
Probably had a Dell computer when you were growing up in college,
go
right?
to his page
so Michael
and
Dell,
vote on his little. Yeah.
Doing the whole, Bitcoin thing, retweeting Michael Saylor, right? So my question now is this then, and this is I saw somebody on X share this, and I thought it was an interesting, I don't know, idea. I'll put it out as an idea, not a conspiracy theory. But this guy, yeah, that's right. Dell is buying the Inspired.
They are buying, bro. It's happening.
That perhaps if you say a billionaire like Michael Dell, all of a sudden going, okay. Don't you, and you see all of a sudden the price coming down to like the 60s or whatever we're at. I mean, there could be some price manipulation. Is it being brought down so people like Thiel, or even Dell are now taking an opportunity to buy? Now, this was some conjecture that somebody on Twitter had put forward. I think there might be some merit to it. I haven't done enough research to see, but I think it's an interesting idea that's been floated.
I would say that it's not with out of reach for Larry and team, but that's it. BlackRock, that's the only people that can mess with Bitcoin because they have so much effing money. But that's the other big news, right? You have to realize that those funny games are over because BlackRock just announced they're buying their own ETF, right? They're sipping the tea,
Right, yeah.
And that's what we've been waiting for, right? To hear that the big boys are actually starting to buy their own shit. And they are, right? So BlackRock is buying. The other big news is, yes, there's a lot of downward pressure because, again, a lot of the newbies are selling from the ETF. That was one thing. Some of it's Mt. Gox people who think that Bitcoin's topping out. But from all the data that we're seeing, fundamental and technical, Bitcoin is primed to go higher. This is just a fact. There's nothing they can do about it now. But yes, Dell is clearly once in on this party.
Yeah.
But the really interesting news is like after all this downward pressure and we got close to, I think it was like 58 and some change, literally, I think right around when it hit 58 or 59, and I tweeted this out. I didn't pull that tweet up, but somebody smash bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin within.
Oh, that was me.
24
Sorry.
hours.
It's my bad. That was me. I did that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It was like $986 million smash buy on chain, right? This is on chain. As we predicted in the show, right? I was like, you're going to see somebody smash buying a Billy.
Hey, Inspired has Inspired. Yeah, we're checking your wallet, Inspired. Inspired has a question. Wants to know our thoughts on crypto whales borrowing $34 million for bullish leverage and trading. Your thoughts on crypto whales borrowing $34 million for bullish leverage trading, Gerald?
Again, leverage trading on Bitcoin, I don't ever recommend it. Somebody's going to get burnt. And as Bitcoin's been operating in this crab mode, it's been whacking the longs and the shorts consistently. Probably over a half dozen times we've seen Bitcoin go up enough to whack the shorts, right? Because, when you go into these leverage trading accounts, the more leverage you use, that window gets smaller and smaller that Bitcoin has to move up or down, right? So as I always tell people, if you're going to be doing leverage trading as a newbie, I don't recommend it, but if you're going to be crazy, because a lot of people are these days,
Just
the
don't do it.
lowest setting, right? You don't want to be on 100x leverage, right? You want to be like 1 or 2, maybe 5x is the highest to start out on, because as you get higher up to that 100x, again, Bitcoin only has to move up like 1 or 2% and boom, you're whacked. And again, back to the charts, Bitcoin's been doing just enough to go up high enough and whack all the longs, and then it goes sideways for a little bit, and then it dips, and then boom, it whacks all the shorts. So again, I tell people, very wealthy people who have tons of money and people like ourselves who are plebes, like, no, don't do it. You know, you're literally, again, we said this in the last episode, I think, it's like 2 hillbillies in front of a big bonfire, and one hillbilly turns to the other and says, I'm gonna bet you I can take this gasoline, throw it on this fire, and put it out. Yeah, it ain't happening.
That should just become a meme right there. I was looking for a meme, but I think that's the meme right there, dude.
But it's the truth. I mean, you're literally trying to pour gas on a fire and like thinking you're going to put it out, or pouring water on an oil fire. The same thing's going to happen, right? You're going to get.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna go.
That's where we're at. I mean, literally, that's where we're at. And these guys, like even Peter Thiel, doesn't know, right? He's been so away from Bitcoin, because even you can hear it in his own statement, like, I sold some, I have some still. Yeah, you don't.
That's called cognitive dissonance at work. You saw it right there in action. Like,
and he's saying, I don't think it'll go higher because he wants
the price to come down. He wants the price to come down so he can get more, because he realized he made a mistake and did not stack sats, nor enough. He says he didn't have enough.
And also to another rich person out there that's been doing stupid shit with Bitcoin, David, Mr. Portnoy.
Oh,
I love you and hate you, bro. It's not coming down to 40K. I'm sorry. The lowest you're going to see is maybe 55, maybe low 50s.
I think the bottom was already in. I think Thiel Swain, one of our colleagues out there on the app, does great analysis. And I was looking at some of his stuff and some of his charts, and yeah, I think he was right. The bottom was in just the other day, right around 58, and we see now we're up about almost 2% in the last 24 hours, right around 62, with a fear and index reading, or fear and greed index of about 45. So seems like we might have seen the bottom.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, yesterday was a very good, technical indicator, right? We're pumping on a Saturday morning. I think I didn't go to bed. I couldn't go to sleep. But it was like literally 5 a.m. West Coast time.
Yeah.
And it was literally going from 60,500 and then boom, 61. And I'm like, it's pumping on a Saturday morning and like nobody's awake.
Those are like the old days in 2017 when you get those China pumps on the weekend.
Exactly. And the reason you're never going to believe this, and I highly recommend it. But the reason why I couldn't get to sleep was because I'm like flipping through Prime, and I also have Max, and I'm scrolling through all these Max, movies and shows and whatnot. Oh yeah, there's the news of strike launching UK. Thank you for that, Nick. And literally I see this thing, it just says anarchists, and I'm like, interesting.
That speaks to you.
And I'm like, open it up, and I find out it's a mini series about Jeff Berwick and crypto, or Anarchapulco. And oh my gosh, I literally watched it. That's why I couldn't go to sleep. I had to watch the whole thing through, and it's just like fascinating. It was so freaking fascinating.
I can't access this chart. The Inspire dropped the chart here for us. Jared wants us to look at this chart about cycles, indicating a high possibility of 400K in this cycle. I can't pull up the chart, but just my initial thoughts on 400K this cycle. I would say that might be a bit of a stretch, just from my own. I'm probably playing it and looking at it from a more conservative aspect. I think that probably 250 by 2015, by Q3, by that September, that 18-month post-halving period is probably doable. But again, in this market with these conditions, now with ETFs, we are certainly in uncharted territory and unprecedented waters. But I don't know about 400K this cycle. I definitely think probably 250 by almost a year from now would definitely be in the range. Again, Although with the geopolitical macroeconomic conditions that are swirling about, right there you go, Nick, right there. Just, I swear we're like on the same wavelength, dude. Geopolitical events might create some instability too. Exactly. Flash crash. And I think that, again, we look at Q3 and Q4 still to come with these high interest rate loans that need to be serviced on commercial real estate and the regional banks. Nobody's really addressing that still. We're having a problem, and that ball is yet to drop. And so I think that there we could still be in for some pain. So I think the best thing to do is stay safe, stack sats, hodl. Dollar cost average, self-custody your Bitcoin. And at the end of the day, you'll probably come through this okay. But for this cycle, my thoughts again, 400K might be a stretch. I think 250 is well within reach by next year.
Yeah. Again, it's all what happens, what plays out, right?
Yeah.
Who becomes
president. I want to see this
right?
chart though.
Right. Because even though I'm not a fan of Trump, there's one president who's way pro Bitcoin and there's one that's not. So
hey, Nick, could you bring up Inspired's chart that he shared with us? Because I can't seem to bring it up. And when I click on it in the comments, I'd like to see this. And thank you, Inspired, for being here in the space.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
And thank you everybody for streaming it, whether you're on the live stream or you watch it on the replay, and whatever platform you're on. Thank you. On X, it's on X. Okay. Hey, one thing while we're pulling it up on a different browser, maybe one thing that we didn't get to, it was still kind of newsworthy this week, is our good friend Gabor Gerbach over there at Van Eck and the team have filed their S1 for Solana ETF.
Oh, for Solana, cool. That would be good. That would help my
pump my bags.
Yeah, pump my shitcoin bags, please. Thank you. So here is that Dave Portnoy. I did pull that up. So let's just get a chuckle out of that one. Let me share that one. And I will hit play.
Okay, so it doesn't present itself as a clickable link in the comments. All right.
Week it was up. Bitcoin's high 70 is around 60. I said I'm going to take Barstool money and probably buy like 5 million, 10 million of Bitcoin if it gets into the 40s.
See, this is
I'm not going to buy in the 60s.
Yeah, this is where Dave
I already have a ton of personal Bitcoin, so don't get it confused.
Oh, he's got
right
personal
now,
now.
61,
oh yeah, right. Well, you sold all of that
Bitcoin.
after the Winklevi helped you out, bro.
Been down a little bit of a rough week. It was up. Bitcoin's high 70 is around 60. I said I'm going to take Barstool money and probably buy like 5 million, 10 million of Bitcoin if it gets into the 40s.
Some teenage kid at the, I'm going to buy like 5 million.
I already have a ton of personal Bitcoin, so don't get it confused.
He says a ton.
Right now we're at
a ton. He's such a liar.
Dude, that guy does not know. That guy's Mr. Lettuce Hands. Look, he was great for what he did, but when it comes to Bitcoin, the guy does not know what he's talking about. The guy has no clue.
And
he let his hand when the freaking Winklevi twins came to help him out and showed him how, hey, Zombie Douglas is here.
Oh,
what's up, buddy? He's got a show coming up here on the Bitcoin Live Network later on today. I love Zombie. David does a great job. But that's why he doesn't want to that's why he doesn't want under 50K, huh? Okay.
Yeah, well, let's I'm gonna help Dave and anybody that's like Dave or has less capital, because I wish I had 5 million to buy in Bitcoin. But let's help Dave. So this is what Dave should be doing. Okay. And this is very simple. I broke it down to my friend who's been in the space since 2018.
There's the
and I left her a voice message probably like 6 months ago and said, look, I've been doing this stuff for about 8 years now. And I said, do you want the simplest, this is like the 5-year-old technical analysis for Bitcoin. And she's like, of course I do. And I say, okay, it's really fucking simple, right? And this is going to Dave as well. So literally this is as simple as it gets. So Dave's got 5 million. So you want to take about 10K to 100K. And if it's green, you don't buy. It's red, you buy 10K to 100K. If it's green, you don't buy. It's red, you buy 10K to 100K. And you keep doing that. And trust me, that if it's green, you don't buy. If it's red, you buy. It's as simple as that. I can't break it down even any simpler for you, Dave. If it's red, buy. If it's green, don't buy. But you waiting for a number is the stupidest shit ever, because Bitcoin will never hit the number you're waiting for. It will never hit it. Because I've tried that game many times.
Doesn't work.
It never will hit your magic fucking number. Never, ever, ever.
That's why really we've said this time and time again, and like a lot of the smart people in the comments here, in the space right now that are streaming us, they probably know this. Dollar cost average is your friend. If you just stay consistent to dollar cost averaging over the course of time, that cost comes down, and you don't have to worry about dips and red candles or price swing or momentum, because over time your dollar cost averaging will bring you to a point where you come out ahead, and then you just self custody that, and you miss all the volatility. You just kind of ride it right through.
Yeah, and if you have zero capital, right? This is for like people that literally like, I don't have any money, because I get it. Inflation's crazy and everything's super expensive. Right? There's many apps out there, right? So let me just show you the one I've been using for the last couple years. And then they're still like hitting me up with emails. We need a bank account. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, no, you don't. You want a bank account. You don't need a bank account.
Hey, Gerald, we got Jared, we got the chart up.
You got it.
Okay. Wanted us to take a look at. Give us your thoughts on it really quick before we go on that.
Yeah. Let's see.
Nick's got it up right there. So again, this cycle.
Okay, I just want to check out the lines first. Okay, so the blue line is the MA, and then okay, the 200-day MA. I mean, I'd like to see the MACD when I look at charts like this too, because I'm a big MACD fan. But I mean, this is to me super bullish. I mean, just look.
It is. I mean, it's up and to the right. So
just look what direction the damn green line is going, y'all.
Up and to the right.
Up and to the right. There, Matt broke it down real simple. Up and to the right.
That's what you want to look at. Up and to the right.
That's and pull up the DXY. You'll notice a different pattern, down and to the right.
Yeah, it is repeating the last cycle. You're right there, Inspired.
Yeah. So again, I mean, it could hit 400. It could hit 1 million. I mean, Samson's not wrong. If all the macro, environmental, climate changes happen. So let's just put it out there. Trump becomes president, the stock market does crash, but Bitcoin only crashes like 10 to 20% and then rebounds like 300 to 500%. Oh yeah, that could happen, because the dollar is on a very slippery slope right now, right?
The dollar's,
we've been talking about this for a long time now. As somebody who's been studying not only the hash rate chart of Bitcoin for like 8 years, I've been studying the DXY for 5+ years. And it peaked a couple of years back, right? So in I think it was like 2021, when oil was hitting like $150+ a barrel, the DXY was literally hitting new all-time highs of about 114, 115 per dollar. And again, that hurts all these emerging market economies. Yeah. And over the last 2 years, all these BRICS countries have been getting together and be like,
big time.
Oh, do you like the dollar? Oh, we love the dollar. Oh, it's the greatest thing ever.
Another question in the chat from Inspired wants to know, why do you think Samson keeps saying the Omega candle is coming? Do you think he knows a nation state that is buying? Samson keeps saying that for a reason when it goes to 1 million. I'll let you have first swing at this one, Jer.
Yeah. So again, he knows this because he can see this on the charts of like what we were just discussing, right? If you look at other emerging market economies, Bitcoin against those fiat economies has hit new all-time highs, like big new all-time highs. So the dollar will always be last in that equation because it's the biggest reserve currency and it has the most fiat currencies pegged to it. So it will be the last one to, have this huge move. When it's going to be, it's hard to really say, because now that we have so many institutional level players coming into the mix, yes, I used to say it's financially almost impossible to move Bitcoin around past 50 to 60K unless you have billions of dollars. Well, guess what? BlackRock has billions of dollars, right?
Who else does? Peter Thiel.
Yeah, Peter Thiel does.
You know who else does?
He's not
Michael
buying.
Dell. Michael Dell has
Yes.
billions and billions of dollars. I
Yes.
like Douglas's comment. Zombed here said, I think Samson is just too big of an entity not to say something, and he's lately been stuck in a repeat cycle of terms, but that's just Douglas's opinion. And
No, again, and Samson could be wrong, because let's say, like I said, let's say all these macro conditions don't play out. Let's say Biden wins again and they start coming down on custody, and the stock market only dips a little bit or it keeps pumping, whatever the case. Bitcoin could, flatline for longer. It could be sitting at around 60 to 100K
though,
for a long time.
even if the Biden administration were to continue it for another term, let's just put it that way, I think that he is pivoting his stance on crypto. He can't afford to lose a voting block. And then when you look at these are just fundamental metrics that you can look back at, data points. When you have Abigail Johnson, the CEO, the head of Fidelity, which has got like the second biggest Bitcoin ETF, who's been a Bitcoin bull since way back when, you can absolutely see she was mining Bitcoin on her desktop back in 2015, and she's at an $800 million fundraiser for Biden in Massachusetts. So he's got some people with some sway, some cred, that understand the market, that understand the asset class. They're probably speaking to him going, Joe, wake up. Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is they're having this conference, but it's not till next week, right? I think it's like after the 4th of July. And it's like, you guys don't get this shit. You're losing millions of votes a day. I'm not trying to help Biden, but this is just facts, right? Like, every 24 hours, you do not figure this shit out, you're losing like a couple 100,000 to a couple million votes. The Bitcoin family is a small nation state, right? I've been saying this for a couple months now. It's like literally 300 to 500 million people. It's like the size of fucking Brazil. This is big. Now, all of those people don't live in the US, but the point I'm trying to elucidate here is that we have a very huge block of power now. They know it. They can't run away from it. There's nothing they can do about it. And now they're all in defense mode, because they're realizing that Bitcoin is like gunpowder, right? It is like carbonized steel. It is like sliced bread. It is like the carbon credit that everyone in the world's been talking about for 25, 30 years. Bitcoin is this, right? And it's everything else. And it's going to fix so many problems. It's going to fix all the problems in the world? No. But it's going to fix about 75% to 80% of them. And that's fucking
I like
awesome.
Inspired's comment here in the stream. Dan Held used to be very vocal, as well as Will Clemente, on the super cycle, and it obviously hasn't materialized. And I think that even now, kind of looking back, I was part of a super cycle at one point, thinking that was possibly to happen. I think what that really turns into, and I want to change the super cycle into a term that I think is more palatable and probably more predictable, and that's hyper Bitcoinization. We've heard that term banted about. If you've been in the space for any length of time, you understand what that means. And I think that really is something more to look at, hyper Bitcoinization, especially when it comes to nation states. What we've seen already with El Salvador, what we look as Milei in Milei, did I say his name right?
Malaysia,
in Argentina, right? He's looking to make the pivot.
Oh,
Bolivia, all
Milei.
these other countries. When it comes to nation states, that's where I think we really get into hyper Bitcoinization. That's where we get into the nation states are adopting it. The nation states are starting to look at maybe even centralizing Bitcoin mining under a national banner. Right. So now instead of Fort Knox, where all the gold is stored in Fort Knox, now imagine that Fort Knox is now a big data center that mines Bitcoin under the U.S. government banner. Like, this is the federal Bitcoin
and it's decentralized all over the country. The Bitcoin Mining Authority.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I totally agree 100%. And that's the other thing is, like, all of this could happen in a matter of weeks or months. It all depends on what plays out, right? Like, literally, we've got how many countries now besides just the United States, right? We were just talking about the UK is opening up their strike. The UK was very anti-Bitcoin from 2018 to about 2021. So for, strike to be opened up in the UK, this is a huge deal. Literally within hours of Jack saying this, I saw somebody from outside London was like, I set it up. I've got $1 euro purchase going every hour. Right. So, we're in a new territory. I know all these people have been around for a couple epochs is like still like, but it hasn't done anything. And it's you know, it is what it is.
The other
Bitcoin's going
thing
to
that
make
to
it
kind of go
through.
back to one of the questions in the stream, does Samson know something? I think a lot of folks who have been in this space, like some of our friends here in the stream, know that there's a thing called OTC. Those are over-the-counter trades, which aren't really reported, that we don't see as, you know, in the retail sector. That because that if we saw all that was happening, it would probably move the needle a lot more. So I think that perhaps these people that have a better advantage or a better placed of perspective on what's happening in the markets, or maybe that's why he's saying Omega is coming, because he knows, or he has word of, you know, XYZ individual or sovereign nation state group or whatever is buying massive amounts on an OTC, right? And then you can also look at the amount that's on exchanges, and that's very easy to see, like, oh, there's only a finite amount on exchanges. Then when you look at what the miners have, right? Are the miners hoarding? Are the miners selling? The miners aren't really selling and they're hanging on to it. Then that's going to tell you something else, that again, supply and demand. Are you down with OTC? Yeah, you know me. There's a new crypto card in the UK, just as like last week, an old crypto for cards company. Don't know that. Okay. Douglas again with the great comments and commentary. And Zombie does his show. 3D changes perspective here on the Bitcoin Live Network. It's coming up right after us, so stick around for that.
But yeah, so I mean, literally, we have all of these, you know, Western countries, right? Because I mean, look at the yen. This is the other part we didn't discuss, right? So the yen is not doing well. Literally last week, one of their biggest banks is going to liquidate somewhere between 65 to 100 billion dollars worth of U.S. securities, right?
Yeah, that's U.S. security. That's what the Treasury sells, right?
Yeah, that's the dollar, y'all.
Right. To fund what we do in America and wars and programs and all that stuff. And then when these other countries start unloading all that, what do you think that's going to do to the dollar?
Yeah, I tell people, you loved inflation with a high dollar at 115. Oh, you're going to love inflation at a low dollar around 79. But Bitcoin loves that. So, I mean, this is where I tell people, if we do see the DXY lose its market structure and it goes below 100, you know, per dollar, right? We go into the 90s. Oh, Bitcoin will go nuts. It loves weakness in fiat. And again, that's evident in all of these other countries, from Japan to Turkey to Mexico, where, you know, Bitcoin's hit a new all-time high in their shitty paper money. And it will continue to do this. It is only a matter of time that it does it in USD. And like we said, you don't have just the West investing anymore, right? Bitcoin's been around. In another 6-7 months, Bitcoin will be a full-blown teenager, right? Bitcoin will be 16 years old, 15 years old. So again, we're heading into really new territory. And we just have to be patient. You know, the real Bitcoiners out there, be thankful it's hanging and
gives you a chance to stack. And
yeah,
thank you, Chris.
This was last week's show.
Today. Chris Cone K. Chris, I can't see your last name. It's really small font, and I need glasses this early hour. But thank you for coming through the stream, Chris.
Oh yeah, thank you for the compliment.
Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate that.
I gotta get glasses. I gotta look at that. Like, what did Chris say?
But yeah, this is, again, we're in rare air, and you just have to be patient because we have so many parties that want at Bitcoin. And that's just how it is. I tell people there's always going to be people buying and selling Bitcoin. You want to do the opposite. You just want to buy it and hodl it. Do you want to spend some? I always tell people, yeah, have a couple Lightning wallets when Bitcoin hits 100K or a million, whatever the number is in your head. Yeah, then you definitely can open up those Lightning wallets and buy
okay. I just want to throw a curveball at you. And I know we're in the live stream and we're getting close to ending our time for today. What is we'd love for you to do that, Nick. What is the catalyst for the next leg higher? Because we've been in the bull crab for the last, I don't know, we've had 100 days since the last ATH, right? So what is the next catalyst for the leg up?
I think it has. I think that's the new card that I think
Douglas was
was
talking
saying.
about
Yeah, it's
in
launching,
the
and
UK.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. All of these things are crucial to the expansion of Bitcoin's adoption. I think the next leg up.
Yeah, the
Um,
catalyst. What will be the catalyst that does that?
Yeah,
Is
the
I mean,
catalyst is going to be like some big news, right? I think what Samson's hitting at is that he knows that one of these nation states is going to start accepting Bitcoin for capital goods, right? And we've been saying this, I think, since episode 1 or 2, that Saudi Aramco or MBS is going to start accepting Bitcoin for oil. It's in the works right now. We already know that they're not going to
they
be
dropped
using
the
the
dollar.
dollar.
They dropped the dollar.
I mean, let's be very clear. They're not dropping the dollar. They're going to be opening it up to
To
other
currencies, right?
Yeah, so that means
But still,
the
that is
dollar
a
will be used less.
monumental shift from what happened. It started back in 1971 in August when Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard, and we've been on this petro fiat dollar roller coaster since then. And the rest of the world is pretty pissed off that we've weaponized our currency, and now they're like going, And again, is it any coincidence that Bitcoin came out the same year that BRICS was launched? I don't know, man. I'm just connecting some dots. I'm not saying that it was on purpose, but again, it's a coincidence that the same year that the white paper for Bitcoin came out was the same year that BRICS was founded.
Yeah, exactly. And we're starting again to see this more and more, right? Like I said, the Bolivia this week. A couple of months ago, we heard about the UAE was open up this huge mining operation. They're going to be, I mean, clearly, excuse me, clearly they're going to start using Bitcoin and utilizing it, because once they figure out, that all of this wasted energy that's going around can be captured and generate more money from oil fields, from gas fields, from municipal dumps,
Hydroelectric.
Exactly.
For example, the country of Kenya signed that exclusive deal just recently with Marathon to be able to acquire and use all that trapped energy, that lost energy from hydroelectric, because they had so much energy. They're like, oh, we have electricity. What do we do with it? Hey, Marathon, you want access to it? We will do an exclusive deal with you where you come into Kenya and you have access to all of our trap power. And guess what? Now Kenya is getting Bitcoin at a percentage from Marathon, and they're just adding that to the reserves of their balance sheet as a country on something that was wasted, that they weren't even going to be able to make any money on. And now they're like,
literally got the turbines going. Nobody needs the energy. Wasted, right? And this is what makes wind viable. This makes solar viable, right? This makes any closed energy system that doesn't have good transmission lines more viable, right? Because anytime you're generating...
There's another one, Marathon right there. Nick's got it up. Bitcoin
Marathon
mining
uses Bitcoin mining to heat town of 11,000 in Finland. So again, the use cases are coming, and this is perfect segue into this video from Simply Bitcoin. I want to pull it up. Let me just rewind it real quick because I hate that.
Oh, that's the Dave. Yeah, okay.
And like what you said with, it's like Bitcoin is already filling cracks in society. And like what you said with,
you got to pull it down.
And Kelly and others, like they're already using the wealth that they're accumulating with Bitcoin and using the ability to store value in Bitcoin as a way to build up society back to where it once was and then beyond there. People get so accustomed to their day-to-day lives that they forget to look at history and what the world looked like back on a sound money standard. The architecture, the quality of the food, the way humans actually treated each other. And that's just slowly dissolved through fiat money. But if we go back to sound money, we don't have to go through some Mad Max scenario necessarily. It might happen. I'm ready for it.
Might happen. Be ready for it.
He said, I'm ready for it. That's what he said.
Well, I'm ready for it. Well, you might want to. Sound money, invest in the stuff that lasts, because you don't want to part easily with your money. Yep, that's true.
Exactly. And again, we discussed this many, many times, right? This is why proof of work is very important. As we print money ad infinitum, right? Everything's over the last 150 years, especially the last 50 years, the quality has gone down, right? From lumber to food to women to men to art to culture, everything's has been on a chart going this way. And it's all literally, if we pulled up the chart from 1971, we went off the gold standard, it literally follows it to a T. So again, this is clear as day. Yeah, health as well. Everything has been fiat cheapened, right? Because free money, what does it do? Eventually, just like shady drug dealers that want to cut their product with all of these ABC, XYZ ingredients to make more money, the pharma companies do the same thing. The food companies start doing the same thing. And that's where we're at, people. This is where we are at. And how do you fix that? We have to stop printing money ad infinitum.
Hey, before we wrap up, I know that we can go a little bit long, but there was one video I wanted to share, and I got some pushback from some folks, and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe that video. Look. I just want to share this video. It was making the rounds. This has not been doctored. This is not somebody didn't create this video on Burble AI or any AI platform. This is a real video, a real guy, and talking about real circumstances and real situations when it comes to money, inflation, and the world that we live in. So I've got
everyone that said this was bullshit. You're full of shit.
Yeah. Here. Check this out.
I feel like I'm gonna be sick. I just looked through my Walmart history, and I found this Walmart order from 2 years ago for the whole month worth of groceries. 45 items cost $126. A whole month of groceries just for me, basically. But I did notice this reorder all button, and I wanted to see how much it would cost now. Now, this order of 45 items for 1 month would have cost $414. That is 4 times more. How the fuck? How? What?
There you go.
Oh, again, if you loved inflation on the high,
that's a fake video. There's something wrong with that. There's some AI. Whatever.
No, yeah.
Whatever.
Again, if you loved inflation when the dollar was riding high, you're gonna love inflation.
We can just share facts with you, and you can choose to discern or go, that's not true, and that's called cognitive dissonance, and that's okay.
Indeed. Again, and this isn't BS, right?
This is right.
Yeah, again, let's be very clear. Since 2020, right, or let's go back to 2016. Since 2016 till now, there's been, I want to say $15 trillion printed, roughly, maybe 20. It's insane. It's literally batshit insane. So again, the biggest thing for America to realize right now is it doesn't matter if Biden wins. It doesn't matter if Trump wins. They're going to print more money. Because we know that's what they do. There is no doubt about it. It's 100% going to happen. And whether it's the CBDCs or it's more fiat, it doesn't matter. It's the same concept, right? It's dollars, right? They're going to print more. And again, going back to CBDCs, I want to share one more video before we get out of here. And this one is from Efron, I think her name is. Give me a sec. Yeah, Hashrate is her name. And let me just pause it and rewind it. There we go. Share this tab. And here we go.
Let's take a look at Thailand. In 2023, Thailand launched a pilot where people received free money, basically were bribed with $280, which is about 10,000 baht, a lot of money for the average Thai, with an expiry date of 6 months on the money and a geofence of 4 kilometers radius where they can spend the money. Based on this recent success, and yes, they call it a success, Thailand will launch at the end of 2024 a digital token payout to 50 million lower income earners. 50 million people will participate, aimed at encouraging them to spend in their local communities. It's a 500 billion baht, which is 13.7 billion US dollar plan of creating money out of nothing. The sad and funny thing is that they wanted to take the 500 billion baht as debt, and they got criticized. So what did they do? they announced it will be taken from the fiscal policy instead, meaning fresh printing of money, meaning more inflation, meaning they steal from you anyway, right?
Yay!
And now everyone's happy, so they managed to pass that through the law. Using CBDC like this for stimulus achieved by airdropping or bribing, if we call it by its real name, will be used as an excuse to continue printing money, just like Thailand shows us now. Continue printing.
Surprise!
Surprise.
So again, you know, my little video I made at the beginning of May is not, this isn't conjecture, right? That's not me being hyperbolic, right? Go to my, you know, top of my Twitter feed. It's pinned there, right? It's actually got, I think, almost 7,000 views now. Please watch that. If you're an American citizen and you have 0 Bitcoin, please go to the top of my page. Watch that video, right? They're going to do the same thing here, right? And they're going to have expiration dates, right? She said it had a 6-month expiration date. Oh yeah, here it is.
Dude, do you know how many Americans would be pissed off and lose their ever-loving mind?
Oh, you're talking like 200 to 300 million.
Oh, guess what, Gerald? You can't use your money anymore because it expired.
It expired. There's only one thing.
All that does is it takes away the incentive to save. You cannot save. You cannot acquire wealth if your money is got an expiration date on it, like milk. I can only imagine the perils and the pitfalls that are going to follow, that will ensue.
Yeah, again, there's going to be a lot of people who are flabbergasted when this comes at them because it's coming like a freight train, right? Let's be very clear. Just got the notification from my bank. Remember, we were talking about Pays. Oh, your Pays wallet is ready. It's like, I'm like, great, awesome. So the really cool thing about using Pays that I found out, the one nice feature, is like if you go shop online, none of your credit card information is shared anymore, right? They're using tokenization and they use that token number to verify the transactions. So again, this is also, it's a cryptographically based wallet. Hello.
Yeah.
So the writing's on the wall, people, right? Let's be very clear. The CBDCs are coming. There's nothing you can do to stop them. You're going to hate them, but guess what? If you want to save long-term, like in my video, you must start stacking sats. This is imperative. This is no longer like, oh, it's just some, you know, those internet nerds.
Oh yeah, they're geeks. They don't know what they're talking about. It's a Ponzi scheme.
Magic internet money. No, we're not in those stages anymore. This is why it's different, right? The world is literally adopting Bitcoin as we speak. It's a very slow process, and it's probably going to be like another 10 years before we see those, you know, million to a billion numbers. But we're in those stages, right? If you saw the charts from last week, there's a lot of people sharing, you know, Bitcoin has more adoption at this point than the internet did, right? So if you're not stacking, you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage because, again, this is the future money of the world. You are missing out because they have brainwashed you into being your obedient little consumer servant, right? You have to get out of that fiat mindset, right? And like I said, oh yeah, and
some people don't even know what fiat is. They still think it's a car. They're like, oh, why do you have a problem with the Italian automaker? What did they ever do to you?
And even if you don't, like we were saying earlier, if you have $0, right? There's applications like this one right here. This is called Choice, right? And literally you can go on here. They have a little video game, and I'll show you the game. Of course, I have to wait. They only let you play every 24 hours. But basically, it's like a little game of if you've ever seen The Price is Right, Plinko, and it's this little chip, and it goes blah, 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 and there's all these slots at the bottom, and there's a couple of slots that have zeros on them. But then there's one that says like 50 sats, 100 sats, 500 sats, and you play it every day. You're not going to win every day. But, when Bitcoin was hitting its all-time high around 75K, I think my position was up to like 40 or $50. So that's just free Satoshis, right? for saving for a couple of years, those sats. And again, it's, you know, like I said, when Bitcoin was pumping, it was almost up to 50 some bucks. So again, there's multiple ways you could be stacking, right? Cash App, PayPal, Coinbase. Obviously I don't love Coinbase, but it's there. And then once you get, I'm sorry.
Lolly. Crypto.com,
Lolly,
Lolly.
that's another one. Lolly.com, great way to buy stuff and get rewards back, right? You buy something
stuff that
through
you buy every day, from groceries to laundry detergent to whatever.
Yeah, Fold, that's another one. The Fold app, they've got their card and they got their little game. You can go in there, and they very similar to The Price is Right as well. They got a little wheel. You press the button and you win some free sats every day. But take advantage of this now, because these little applications that are here, like Lolly and Fold and Choice, they'll be gone in 10 years, right? They'll totally disappear from existence in the next 10 years. They just won't be there anymore. They won't, because why would you, again, you wouldn't be like you're not going to be giving away free money anymore, right? You're like, it doesn't compute, right? Unless it's interfaced into like an email server system, right? Like, oh, you're erasing your emails and keeping our servers clean. Here's some Satoshis, right? But yeah, these faucets, the faucets will disappear from.
They've already gone. Those were like 2017, even before 2017, right? And I think maybe I know we're getting close on time, so maybe I can just share with you. You mentioned the debt. And it is a massive problem. It is something that we're going to be staring down the barrel of here as we move into Q3 and Q4 with those high interest loans on commercial real estate that the regional banks are going to be looking at. And that's why the Fed is going to have to cut. They're waiting for something to break. Then they will fix it. And here's what is coming, Nick. We have it queued up. We have it ready. This is what is coming.
It's coming. Debt train. In a nation driven by ambition, the U.S. economy is a train headed for disaster. Debt train, riding the rails to financial ruin. Starring Jerome Powell, Joe Biden, Janet Yellen, Jamie Dimon, and millions of helpless Americans. Can we avert disaster when those in charge steer us toward the edge? Debt train. This movie has not yet been rated. Coming soon to theaters near you.
This movie is not yet rated.
That is seriously what's coming.
It's coming. Debt train.
No, you're right. Totally
in a nation.
And there's nothing you can do except stack sats.
Yep. Stay safe. Stack sats, hodl. Thank you, Douglas. Thank you, Zombid. Thank you, The Inspired. Thank you, everybody, for coming through on the stream today. It's great to be able to connect and share. And, I love this decentralized community from around the world and across the web, whatever it is, wherever you are, no matter the time zone. We can all meet here. We can share information and exchange ideas. I love it. Thank you.
Yes. Again, thanks to the team at Quantum Expeditions, Quantum Economics, the team at Bitcoin Live, and thanks Shieldfolio. Don't forget, if you want to get that discount on Shieldfolio, it's just scan that QR code. I think Nick's trying to pull it up as we speak. And if you scan that QR code, you get an extra 20% off your Shieldfolio. And yeah, take advantage of that. Thanks again to Nick and everyone on the team at Bitcoin Live, and stick around because the Zombid show's coming up and should be on right after this one. So thanks so much. And and Matty just dropped in. Thanks, Matty, for stopping by right at the end. Take care. Peace.
Later.